Morning. Wi-Fi connection is really bad tonight. My picture looks blurry to me too. Does my picture look blurry to you? My screen is lagging a lot and my picture is blurry. But anyway, I'm live on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Rumble. My name is Catherine Vitale. I'm a former candidate for Boston City. I've been an activist for 3 years. I'm a homeschooling mom. I am the state director of the Massachusetts chapter of Blexit. If you don't know what Blexit is, it is the largest conservative minority group in the country with 47 chapters. We just started the Massachusetts chapter in May. I became an activist in basically 2020, 2021 when we were speaking out against protesting, having public demonstrations against the I've worked on quite a few political campaigns over the past 4 years, and I pretty much advocate for and speak out about anything and everything that Boston and Massachusetts in the world today. So that's what I do and who I am. And I'm trying to be more consistent with posting videos and live stream conversations online. Hopefully, other people start doing the things that myself and very few others are doing, taking direct action when it comes to holding public officials accountable and speaking. We just don't see enough of that happening. I hope that, with myself and others posting more and explaining things more, maybe some other people will step up and join the fight. So today what I want to talk about is, and also I go live. I do live stream spontaneous, so maybe I'll have a schedule at some point. But for now, it's pretty random. Anything that's going on with me or any of the people that I work with. And that's that. So yesterday's elections. Massachusetts had it turned out as predicted, as usual. Democrats run this state. Democrats are the only organizers in this. It's very frustrating because with what we've been through in the past 4 years, especially in Massachusetts, I would have hoped that we would be, I would have hoped that we'd be in a better place right now. Conservatives, moderates, I mean, even just people who understand or have some kind of grasp on. Massachusetts continues to be a one-party state. I have no idea what's happening. I may have still been live on Instagram that whole time. I don't know. I don't know if my screen went black or what, but my Wi-Fi is really just not working today. Anyway, so yeah, the elections continue to be disappointing. Go ahead, keep it low because I'm live right now, okay? They continue to be disappointing. We continue to have zero action or any type of work being done from the Republican Party in Massachusetts. I actually looked at the numbers yesterday and just made a little, like, well, I don't even know what to call this, like graph or table or what of the numbers of the candidates, just to, I think it'll maybe put it into a little bit of a different perspective, because, you know, as intended, Massachusetts politics are very confusing. Elections are very confusing. And if, I mean, I've been politically active in Massachusetts for 4 years. For a lot of time into learning how things work with elections in Massachusetts. And, you know, most people, especially if you have a full-time job and other obligations, and learn about how these things work. So, I made this thing. I can't even, oh, it is on my screen. Okay. I can't see it in front of me. I don't understand why my Wi-Fi is so bad today. Anyway, I'll look at it on my phone because I can't see it on my screen. Okay, so I think I just won't try to put the thing on the screen because it's not working for me today. I don't know why. My Wi-Fi sucks today. Anyway, So what it boils down to, this little graph thing that I made, is how many seats were up for re-election yesterday, how many Democratic candidates there were in total, and how many Republican candidates there were in total. So there were 262 seats. The Democrats had 300 candidates, and the Republicans had 77. So I'm going to make a post about this later. So I will post like the image of the numbers that I made. But this is, I mean, hopefully it should put, the Massachusetts, like, don't have time to look at the statistic, that especially people who are active in the Massachusetts GOP, people who are on committees or even possibly elected state committee people or whatever. If you're not looking at these numbers, you should be. It is extremely alarming. I don't know, how many people are putting money into the Massachusetts Republican Party. If you are, I don't know why. It's like non-existent, basically. I mean, 77 candidates for 262 seats. Okay. And I didn't get as far as to make note of how many vacancies there were, how many people were leaving office. So, their seat was up for grabs to either party, whatever. And I will say that I personally know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least six candidates, Republican candidates, that were candidates in yesterday's primaries that have nothing to do with the actual party and have no GOP backing or help whatsoever. At least 6 of them. And that's just who I can think of off the top of my head. I probably maybe even know more than that. That's 6 out of 77 candidates for the entire state that ran as Republicans on the Republican ticket. Most of them having nobody to primary against. Some of them even being in a Republican district. So if they won the primary, then they won the election, period. But zero help, zero representation. I mean, I don't even understand why, like, we have state committee men and women, or, why I don't, like, there's just no words. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It's disgusting. To think of how much faith and, trust and possibly money. I don't know how much people are putting into the Republican Party, but, it's frustrating to think that there's so many people that are still relying on the two-party system and thinking that, the Republican Party is actually doing something here when it's not. Who's responsible for that? You can only place the blame on the leaders for so long, before it's just like, well, where is everybody? Where are all the state committee people who were elected to their positions to do a job, basically? I mean, I don't think they're paid. I don't think state committee people are paid, but I don't think anybody in a party position is paid, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, the point is, like, why get into it and why be elected into a position, whether it's paid or not, if you're not going to do any work when you get there? Like, or is it that important to like have a title on your name or be recognized for winning a stupid election for no reason? I don't get it. So I mean, it's just frustrating and it's stupid. And like, I've only been doing this for 4 years and I can't imagine what is going through the hearts and minds of the people in Massachusetts who have been involved in politics for decades or who have even been an active member of the party for decades. And you see this over and over and over again. And I mean, even the Democrats yesterday, too, I'm pretty sure both parties had a significant amount less voters than we did in the last 2 primaries, I think. At least the last primary. I mean, the one in 2022 for the midterms. So, I mean, you can only blame leadership and the elected people for so long before you start looking at yourself and what you're doing. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of what this video is about today. Just like hoping that if I show these numbers the way that I, am presenting them, that it might put it in perspective for people to say, like, look, you can't just like be a member of the party, of a political party, and hope that somebody else is going to step up to run for office. And then, you can try to do what you can to support them. Like, regular people need to be running for office. Everybody needs to be stepping up. There's tons of work being done in flip counties and try to fix this country. And then here we are in Massachusetts with this, there's a party, there are people, there's a lot of people that have titles and have been elected to positions within the party. There's people that go to conventions and there's delegates, there are people, but like, what are they doing? I don't know. I just switched my enrollment to Republican a couple weeks ago because I'm sick of watching nothing happen in Massachusetts. So I'm going to be getting involved with the party and hopefully helping that situation and forcing something to happen because, like, enough is enough. Time's up. The Republicans need to do something. And if they're not going to do something, then they need to be replaced. There were 262 opportunities yesterday for people to run for office. Only 77 Republican candidates. And I am sure that, like I said, I can think of 6 off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there are many more than that who ran on a Republican ticket but had no help or backing from the Republican Party. Okay, money is one thing. If there's not enough money to be putting into campaigns, then, people need to strategize. People need to think outside the box to figure out how they can fundraise or whatever. But it's not just the money. Like, people don't even know how to start a campaign. People don't know the first thing about running for office. There's no guidance anywhere. I couldn't even tell you right now off the top of my head how many people I've trained to run for office. And that's not because, I mean, like, yeah, I've taken a couple classes, but back in like 2020, so that's not even from like doing so much to learn it as it. And again, I'm not even, still not even an active member of the party yet. I've never been an active member of a party. So I didn't learn from anybody but my own experience and, networking with people and asking questions, so, asking questions of people who have more experience than me. And so I've recruited people to run for office. I've trained people on how to basically like start off a campaign because I've done that much like a few times. So I know, a decent amount of like how it works when you're first starting a campaign. And I'm still doing, but like, who am I? I'm just like, I'm so flustered and annoyed that there's people. There's plenty of people who are in positions that are supposed to do this. Like, and I've made posts and I've made comments on social media about my state committee people. The man and woman who are on the state committee for my district, I still have yet to meet them in person. I realized that I actually wasn't at an event with them in person 2 weeks ago at that 2A rally. They were there, I guess. And I still haven't met them. And they've at least, I don't even know how long they've been state committee people, but it's been at least 4 years. They just got reelected. So, and I've never met them. And I ran for office. And like, that's just disgusting to me. Like, it's even more disgusting because I've spent 4 years of going to meetings and social events and rallies and all types of situations where I mean, I've networked and met with probably thousands of like-minded people throughout Massachusetts. And I just don't get it. Like, is everybody just content with complaining all day? Is everybody content with, blaming everything on Democrats? Like, you can't blame the Democrats. They're doing the work that they're supposed to do. They had 300 candidates running for office yesterday. And they did, and that's not even, they didn't have a candidate in every single race either. So 300 candidates for 262 races. Okay. And there were probably, I mean, I don't know, I'm probably taking a wild guess, 15 to 20 or maybe even more, I don't know, of races that there were no Democratic candidates because it's a red district, so they didn't bother, So, or no, it's probably less than that actually, maybe around 10 to 15, where there were no Democratic candidates. So again, putting it into perspective, 262 races, 262 seats up for election yesterday. The Democrats had 300 candidates and the Republicans had 77. On social media or in meetings. I mean, people do actually physically go to meetings and social events and fundraisers and everything else and just talk about the same things over and over and over again. Over and over again. And people are leaving the state, people are moving away. We had, I mean, in the specific race that I was watching yesterday for US Congress, District 8, Danny Kelly, Rob Burke, and the other guy, who wears an Israel pin on his jacket. But that race that I was watching last night had like 6,000 voters less than it did in 2022. And there were 3 candidates in the primary for that one. In 2022, there were only 2. So it's like even having more options isn't bringing people up, or the people are leaving the state. So, like, forget about flipping people who vote for Democrats. Forget about trying to convince anybody to change their mind. Like, we should be registering people to vote. Like, I've never seen any Republican voter initiative in this state ever. I've seen tons of Democrats with tables set up all over the place, in malls, out on the street. Why is like my phone blowing up right now? Hold on. Hello? Hello? Oh no. No, no, no. Hold on. So anyway, um I just wanted to come on here and say that it's frustrating, and people might get annoyed by hearing me complain about it and by hearing me say that everybody needs to do more. Um, and I get it all the time that it's easy for me to say when I'm unemployed and on welfare, right? Because I have all the time in the world to, you know, do this work. But not really. Like I do this work because like I see that this work needs to be done, not because I enjoy being on welfare and um being broke. Um I do what I feel compelled to do, and I do what I can see needs to be done. So I just wish that more people would do that. And we need some voter initiatives. We need to be registering people to vote. We already have extremely low voter turnout in the state of Massachusetts in general, but even more so in Boston. I know that no Republicans like to come to Boston at all for anything, but again, like, enough is enough. Time's up. Like, this country club Republican social group club thing needs to end. Like, the country's at stake. We've pretty much lost Massachusetts. We've lost Boston. The only thing that we can do now is win it back. Basically, we need to put in the work to win it back. So, like I always say, if you have considered at all ever running for office, or even if you haven't, consider it now, please. Consider doing a voter initiative, a voter registration drive in your area, and or starting your own civic group, or getting involved with your local Republican committee if you're not already, or even lighting a fire under the ass of whoever is running your committee if nothing is being done about anything. And now's the time to get ready for next year's elections. So, like, let's not sit here and wait until a month before your local election that's happening next year. Because for those of you who don't know, elections happen every year, all the time. There's always something going on. It's not a midterm year or a presidential election year. There likely is a local election happening where you live. So now's the time to office you're running for next year and start building that campaign. So if you need help or advice or guidance or whatever, you can always reach out to me. You can reach me at boston2boston.com, boston2boston.com. You can call me. Most people have my number at this point. I give cards out everywhere I go. And hardly ever does anybody contact me after I give them my card. That's fine. I'm still going to keep giving it out. I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to be put. And if anybody has any advice or ideas for me, Sean and I will be doing voter drives in the very near future. And yeah, I think that that's about it. people just need to step it up and start changing the course of the work. Okay. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Per usual, nobody's very active in the comments. So, if you have any questions or anything that you want to say to me, let me know. If you're confused about politics and how it works, I understand, because I've also spent the past 4 years trying to figure everything out. And I will tell you, though, once you understand it, it's not as complicated as it seems. And it's not as complicated to run for office as it seems. People need to step up. People need to do something. The good people are leaving Massachusetts, and I don't plan on leaving. I don't want to leave my home. I'm from Boston, born and raised, and I plan on staying here. So, hopefully, people are going to get the picture here and start doing some work instead of running away or just sitting on the couch and waiting for somebody else to do it, because somebody else is not doing it. There's lots of controlled opposition. There's lots of people who just like to have a title and that's it. There's lots of people who are in positions just so that they can control it and make sure nothing happens. Controlled opposition. And it needs to change if anything's going to get better. So stop blaming party leadership. Stop blaming whoever is making moves or decisions, because if you're not doing anything to make moves or decisions, then the wrong people are going to make the moves and decisions. So again, I'm going to say, somebody says most of these losers are not originally from here. Woo, Warren, Presley. Right. But the people who are from here aren't doing anything to change this. So, and that's true. You need to start block by block, local. You need to be working as hyper local as possible. Meeting your neighbors that live on your street is a start. But yeah, the carpetbaggers will carpetbag. The people will come in and take over and do whatever they want because we're letting them do it. This isn't a them problem. This is an us problem. This is a self-ownership, accountability on our own part situation. We can't, this is not about Woo. This is not about Presley. This is not about Warren. We've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to build candidates to run against these people, and we haven't done it. So you can't use the term vote them out when there's nobody to vote for in opposition to them. Okay, you can go look at the election statistics and the election results from yesterday, and you can scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and look at all of the 262 races and see uncontested, 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 blue, 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 blue. Everything's blue. Not much red at all. So, we can only blame ourselves. We're not doing enough. Unfortunately, the only way things will change is if there's a crime wave like from the 70s into the 80s and all the money folks flee and your average Joe are left or move back to Boston. Why doesn't the GOP run anyone? Because we're not making them. Or libertarians, because we're not making them. It's as simple as that. Who is the GOP? Who are the libertarians? I mean, why do we have somebody still holding positions in the GOP who has been outed as a predator? It's been a couple years now, and we're still keeping this person in positions where they have people working under them, like leadership roles for somebody who's a known outed predator, um somebody who's literally tanking elections and steering, hold our own accountable all day long. You want to talk about Michelle Wu, Ayanna Pressley, Elizabeth Warren, whoever, Amora Haley, the list goes on and on and on. All the posts all day long complaining about what this person's doing and what that person's doing. And, these city councilors and these town selectmen and, all these people are so horrible and they're not even from here. Well, you're from here. Why aren't you running against them? Why aren't you working on a committee to figure out how to recruit somebody to run against them if you don't think that you could run yourself? You don't have to be a lawyer or a career politician to run for political office. You, so far right now, as far as I know, maybe need to be an American citizen. I don't even know if that's a requirement for some things. I have no idea. But you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have any qualifications. I mean, unless the position is actually an attorney position, like district attorney or attorney general or something, then I suppose you have to have a bar license. That's one of the requirements. But you don't have to have any qualifications. So all of the people that are constantly complaining about how things are going, start holding people accountable and just do the work yourself. Like, we've been so conditioned to just be lazy and complain and complain and complain. And it may look like that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm also out in the public doing things, like I sit here and I have these conversations, but I also stream live when I'm out in the public doing things. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I am very active and that I have gotten into many controversial situations because I'm so active, so I wish Menino were still around. Menino introduced the exact agenda that's in play today. He was a part of that. Everybody who's been in elected positions for the past few decades at least has been a part of the agenda that is at play today. So I mean, people say that about Marty Walsh too. The reason why we don't have somebody from Boston as a mayor of Boston right now is because they need it to be somebody who doesn't have ties to the area, here destroying things. And Menino kept the nuts at bay. No, Menino didn't have the internet. That's the only difference, is that people didn't have enough information at their fingertips to know what was going on. Menino probably was not any better than anybody else that we're complaining about now. It's just that now we have access to way more information way easily than we did before, and way more propaganda a lot easier than we did before. So Menino, urban development is what started the framework for every single thing that's happening today. And Menino was a huge part of that. So anyway, I'm going to say the numbers again. I can't put the thing up on the screen, but I'll make a post about it later. There were 262 opportunities yesterday. 262 races across the state of Massachusetts that we could have had Republican candidates for, or even Libertarian candidates, if that's where you're at. And we had 77 candidates. And the Democrats had 300. So if you want to know why Massachusetts sucks and why Boston sucks, it's because you, the people who know what's going on, the people who see through the bullshit, are not doing enough. That's why. So stop making posts about it unless you're going to physically do something about it. And if you're not sure what to do, contact me and I'll help. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. I'll make a post with the numbers later. And hopefully over the next couple months, we'll start building some campaigns. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.